guys, we're rolling into my awesome local motorcycle dealer to pick up some dirt bike parts. Guys are motorcycles. Stopped by my local crack dealer to get some stuff. It's bike setup day. Alright, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that there's no binding in the forks, and we'll see if that can maybe smooth the suspension up in this thing. You never know who assembled it. You don't know if they torqued it right. So what we're going to do today is we got a torque wrench, and we're going to loosen these pinch bolts. And they look like they're loose because they are. And what I'm actually going to do on these is I'm going to take them out and I'm going to put a little dab of grease on them. That way they torque down correctly. Just a little bit on the threads. And we'll put them back in. Making a mess. Finger tight. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Loosen. And since I've already got them loosened up, I'm going to take these out as well and grease them. Alright, so at this point in the operation, we've got the lower pinch bolts loose, we've got the lower fork pinch bolts loose, and the upper ones are torqued to spec. I actually already did that, so I know those are done. So what we're going to do now is we have this stuff loosened up so that it can float. You can see my axle move right there. And we have these loosened up so the forks can settle into place. And what we're going to do is pump the front end a little bit, and I'll put it in neutral here real quick. I can get it into neutral. Alright, I'm going to put it back on the kickstand. So basically what we did is we let all that stuff move freely so that it doesn't bind up. We don't want any binding in those fork tubes, so it makes the suspension harsh. And this thing had a little bit of harshness in the suspension, so I'm suspecting that maybe something up in here was torqued incorrectly or something like that. So we're going to loosen it all up, and now we're going to torque it to spec. So I already have the torque wrench set, and these are the lower ones are 12 Newton meters. So I'm going to tighten these up. just so you know, 12 Newton meters is not very much. That's only 8 foot-pounds. Almost 9 foot-pounds. There's no fucking way that's 9 foot-pounds. There's a click. There's a click. There's a click. Okay. One side done. There's a click. Okay, so we got the upper pinch bolts torqued. These ones don't need to really be torqued a whole lot either. So we'll just leave it at 12 Newton meters. They clamp pretty well. There's a click. There's a click. Okay, that's all she wrote. So that should have realigned my front end so that these axles and stuff are floated in the right spot, and then those are settled in the right spot of the triple clamp, so there's no binding action in the forks. And this is really important when you're doing your front wheel too. So when you reinstall a front wheel, you tap the axle in through this side, tighten this nut down a little bit so you can get the axle tight, and then you loosen them back up and you push on the front end like I showed you before, and then tighten them back up so that this stuff isn't binding. You don't want your forks crooked like this so they don't slide in the tubes, and then you're all bound up and your suspension will suck. So that's a huge suspension tip, and I had done that with the axle down here, but I had not done that with the triple clamps up there because I didn't have a torque wrench at the time. So anyway, that's my tip for today, and hopefully that's helpful to somebody. If this was helpful, like and subscribe, and you'll get to see more 690 tips here. This is how you repair your seat cover with duct tape. So unfortunately, not very many people out there make seat covers that are very good for the 690, so I ordered a stock one, and they're pretty inexpensive, so we'll just keep tearing stock ones apart. And that's it for now.